Okay, namaste everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Let life not escape. Today it's a book review video, and today's book that I'm reviewing is another Julia Quinn's book, which is The Secret Diaries of Miss Miranda Cheever. Right? If I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. So this is a book that I have borrowed from a local library, and because I've become a very big fan of Julia after reading the Bridgerton series, I still wanted to remain in that world. So I started looking for more books by her, and I found this one in a library, and I decided to read it. This book is, if you want to relate it to one of the Bridgerton series, I would say this book goes with much with Anthony and Kate story. Yeah, because that kind of tension, and also more of like Colin and Penelope. Not that you will find the protagonist here having any secret role as Penelope did. It's not about that, but it's more of that they have a friend. There's a role of friendship in this story, and from Anthony and Kate's point of view, there is that friction. You don't know what to do, that confusion, that yearning, all of that is there in this book. So and when it comes to Bridgerton, you can relate to these two books a lot, but from a modern point of view, I would say you will relate to this story a lot from what is happening in the recent love area. How there's heartbreaks and you don't find a right partner, and then you learn your lessons, and then eventually you then find the right partner for yourself. Those kind of themes are there in this book as well. So I would say this is very much, even though it's based from those era, from like I think it's pre-Bridgerton era as well. But the lessons that people learn, individuals learn in themes of love, relationship, you can still relate a lot if you read this book. So you can see even Time magazine says it's smart and funny. It's also yearning. You will keep wondering, when that yearning is definitely there. um, the starting of the book, I would say, comes as a shock. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, of course, but you'll have mixed emotions. It's not like a straightaway emotions where the hero heroine meet, and then there is some sort of emotions involved, and then eventually the story builds up into them falling in love. It's not like that. It is very much different. It's there are a lot of twists. I wouldn't say there's any kind of thrill in it, not in that sense, but a lot of yearning, definitely yearning, and jealousy is involved, yearning is involved, heartbreak is involved. I would say that what happens in this dating era, the current times, how men act foolish, and then women have to deal with the stupidity of men. All of those themes really, really goes with this book. So if you want to read something that is based free Bridgerton era, but also involves a lot of lessons from the current dating times, you should definitely read this book. You will thoroughly enjoy it. Now, that was all about the theme of this book. Let's talk a little about the characters and what the storyline is about. So, this is actually about Miss Miranda Cheever, if you can see it, and it's about her best friend's brother, who's called as Viscount Turner. Interestingly, as I said, Anthony was also in Viscount, and Turner here is again a Viscount, and the themes of the emotions involved are quite similar in this book as well. So if you enjoyed that one, I would highly suggest you reading this one. So these are, and there are other characters. The best friend's brother is involved, families are involved, And if you're somebody who has not been called beautiful, who, who the world has been telling that you're not that attractive and all, you would relate a lot to Miranda's story, because she has always been told that she is not very pretty. And Miranda, sorry, her best friend, I've read it in some time ago, so I forgot the name of a friend, but she is supposedly very, very pretty. So, you know how people usually prefer the other best friend. So it's like that. But eventually, Miss Miranda finds that person who actually finds beauty in her. And she is beautiful, but not in that obvious way. She doesn't meet the standards of those times. So, and then she meets the person who does see the beauty in her and her features and all. So it's a very, very beautiful story in that way. And the hero of her story, he also has his own struggles, not from looks point of view, but he's very, that he's sort of like a lover boy. And yeah, he goes through his own hardship in his life. I am not going to talk about the hardship because I feel it will come out as a spoiler. So he goes through his own hardship, and our heroine goes through her own hardship in a different way. Even I really liked about Miss Miranda is that she really was a lot like Kate from this series, from Netflix series point of view. She was this person who was a feminist and who liked taking stands for herself, who would question the rules of the society. You would see that when you read that book. So she's a lot like Kate from Netflix series. And as I told, even Viscount here, Turner is a lot like Viscount Anthony. And then eventually, how these two come together is a very beautiful story. How they question the society rules, how they, deal with their own lessons in life, and then eventually move move forward them, like move beyond that to choose each other. Like sometimes you have your own issues, your own shadows, which you do not let, which you actually let take a control over your life. And so the characters here, they learn how to not let that happen, and then eventually choose love for themselves. So it's a beautiful story. I highly enjoyed it. From erotic point of view, it is not that much. Like if you're expecting something like Hyacinth story from Bridgerton, not at all, but a little bit here and there, as other Julia Quinn's book, it's there. So it's very beautiful. It's about mostly about how one person falls head over heels over the other person, and the other person takes some time to let other emotions not take control over themselves, and then eventually choose love. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking story. You will connect a lot to both the characters because the themes of the society even exist till now, whatever they show in this book. So a highly recommended book from my end if you want to continue reading Julia Quinn. Thanks a lot, and I will see you again in another book review. If you have any recommendations, something that you would want me to review, you can tell me. But go ahead and read this one, The Secret Diaries of Miss Miranda Cheever by Julia Quinn.